Yo, how is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Beared Down Uncut, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Do you think it's a good idea for the Bears to bring in another running back for cheap? And what options are intriguing to you? We're going to be breaking down some running back information here today on episode 30 of Beared Down Uncut. Welcome back to the show, guys. Before I introduce myself and my co-hosts, I would like to say thank you guys so much for the support recently. About to hit 1.4K subs. The grind for 1.5K, I guess, is on for the end of the month, so if you are new to the channel and stumble upon this video, do us a favor, subscribe, click the bell for notifications whenever we post, and also like the video. Once again, guys, welcome back to the show. I am your host, Chris Malpe. Today, I am joined with my co-hosts, Parth and Jaylen McClinton. How's it going, guys?
Chilling, woke up early today, worked out, got some schoolwork done, so time to grind out some Bears work now.
Yeah, same. I got all my work done for today, which is something I haven't done in a while, so I feel good about my day.
I've got one more day of my first year of college. It's currently Tuesday, May 12th. I finished my last final up tomorrow. Had two of those this morning, so pretty relinquished feeling for me. Going to be able to work a lot more on this and just getting some good rest for myself in general. But today we are here to talk about the running back market. Let's get right into it. So, looking at the biggest deal that was signed by a running back this offseason, it was Melvin Gordon heading to the Denver Broncos on a 2-year, $16 million, fully guaranteed deal. The running back market has really been tanking as of recently. If you look at some other deals, Todd Gurley went to Atlanta for 1 year, $5.5 million, which a couple years ago I'm sure we wouldn't have expected him to be getting paid. Some of the top running backs who remain unsigned include Devonta Freeman, Carlos Hyde, Lamar Miller, and LeSean McCoy. So let's talk a little bit more about these guys. Lamar Miller actually tore his ACL in the beginning of the season, had 888 yards, and was a Pro Bowler in 2018. So, down there with the Texans, when Miller went out, Duke Johnson and Carlos Hyde stepped in, and Carlos Hyde had a really impressive year filling in for the Texans, 1,070 rushing yards, 6 touchdowns. So both of the Texans' premier backs from 2019 are unsigned and still free agents. They added David Johnson, so looking like they're looking to move on from both of these other guys. Looking at Devonta Freeman, he used to be one of the best backs in the league, has really battled some knee and groin issues since 2018. That being said, he was still decent in 2019 with 656 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. And then finally, LeSean McCoy. He's someone that's actually younger than I expected. He's just turned 31, is entering his 11th year in the league. Last year with the Kansas City Chiefs, he had 465 yards and 4 touchdowns alongside Damian Williams. And one would assume that if the Bears did bring him in, he would have a good grip on the offense. He'd be back alongside Nick Foles like 2014, and also would be back with Matt Nagy, who I believe he spent a little bit of time with there in Philadelphia. So some interesting prospects for sure. Obviously, the Bears have David Montgomery, Tariq Cohen. That being said, we mentioned it in an episode a couple days ago in our running back positional review that we don't really know what's going to go on past that. No one's real sure what's going to happen. Artavis Pierce there, Ryan Nall, but some think it's a good idea to bring in a grizzled veteran at running back for cheap. Obviously the running back market is down a lot. The Bears have about $10.8 million left in cap space. You would assume they have to give about $4 to $8 mil, I would say, to the rookies, so hold on to a decent bit of that, but you still have anywhere between $2 and $4 million to hand out this offseason. Parth, I'm going to go to you first. Do you think it's a good idea to bring in another running back for cheap?
Yeah, I think it'd be a great idea, actually. We could help David Montgomery get some veteran in to help him out and just learn the ropes of the NFL. And I feel like if Montgomery went down, we basically have no running back. Tariq Cohen, I don't consider him as a running back at all. I think he's more of a gadget player at the end of the day. So we do definitely need a running back. I don't trust Ryan Nall or Artavius Pierce or Napoleon Maxwell to be our RB3 currently. So a guy like Freeman, Hyde, Miller would definitely be an upgrade.
Absolutely. If David Montgomery did go down, you have someone who can immediately fill in. I agree with you. Tariq Cohen's not going to be someone I'm lining up in I formation, especially after his down year there in 2019. And he's been more productive as a pass catcher throughout his career. We all know this. He's lined up at wide receiver multiple times. I think it's a good idea, personally. We know that the running back market's down. I've said it a couple times now, but you could really probably find someone out there for cheap, someone who can come in, not only give a guy like a David Montgomery a breather, but also provide a veteran presence to teach Cohen and Montgomery some things, specifically Montgomery, because we're not sure what's going to happen with Cohen down the road, but can teach Montgomery some things, show him the ropes, and I think just overall it'd be a beneficial deal, and it could be a short-term deal. Jaylen, I'm going to pass it to you. Do you think it's a good idea to bring in another running back if the price is right?
I'm going to say no, because if we bring in another running back like a Devonta Freeman or a Carlos Hyde, we're going to have another running back by committee. We tried that last year with Mike Davis. That obviously didn't work. Now, Mike Davis is not a Devonta Freeman or a Carlos Hyde or even a LeSean McCoy. But when we were giving Mike Davis the ball, that was taking snaps from David Montgomery. And as soon as we released him, David Montgomery carries went up, and he started to get more yards and score touchdowns and like that. And that's when he obviously got better during the season. So I'm gonna say no, just because I don't want to take snaps from David Montgomery. I definitely feel like he can break out, and if we bring in another running back to take carries and snaps from him, I don't think that's going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the contracts this offseason signed by running backs, someone who we're familiar with, Jordan Howard, going to Miami on a 2-year deal worth almost $10 million, a good contract for him down there. But just in general, the running back market is down. Obviously, I think we can all express that we want Montgomery to have more carries in 2020, which is a good idea. But we're going to go with a hypothetical if here. So we're going to talk about if the Bears were to bring in one of these running backs. And you could also mention someone else if there's anyone you can think of. But out of the guys, Devonta Freeman, Carlos Hyde, Lamar Miller, and LeSean McCoy, who would you want to bring in? Who stands out to you? I'm going to go first by saying LeSean McCoy. He is 31 years old. That being said, he's entering his 11th year in the league, and I really think he has a lot to bring to this offense still at 31 years old. Obviously, he's someone who knows Matt Nagy's offense. He's only 2 years removed from a year in Buffalo where he had 1,138 yards and 13 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns. He had 13 touchdowns in 2016, but still has been really productive throughout his career. He's worked with Nick Foles. If Foles is someone who's going to go in, overall, I also think he probably brings the most to teaching David Montgomery. When it comes to passing down knowledge, maybe Lamar Miller knows a decent bit. I mean, all these guys probably could pass on some good knowledge, but if you want someone who can bring in a veteran presence, is a really grizzled veteran and is probably entering his way out of the league, but can still be productive, LeSean McCoy really hits it on the head for me, and I think Chicago would also be an appealing option for him, just because the familiarity there with the offense for him. Bill Lazor also someone who was in Philadelphia when he spent time down there. Jaylen, I'm going to pass it back to you. Devonta Freeman, Carlos Hyde, LeSean McCoy, and Lamar Miller. If the Bears do bring in one of these guys, which one stands out to you?
I'm going to go with Shady, too. I didn't know he was 31. I thought he was way older than that. That kind of shocked me. It felt like he's been in the league for over 2 decades, but him being only 31, that's crazy. But Shady used to be one of the best running backs in the league, and even at 29, 30, he was still having over 1,000 yards, and something that we usually don't see from running backs once they get up their age. So if we weren't to sign a running back, I would definitely pick Shady over the other two.
LeSean McCoy with 1,600 rushing yards in 2013, 1,300 in 2011, 1,300 in 2014, almost 1,300, and 13 touchdowns in 2016. Really has produced wherever he's gone, and even with a limited role last year with Kansas City, still 465 yards and 4 touchdowns. Obviously he hasn't been with Philadelphia for a while, but you'd have to assume there's some variation from Andy Reid's offense that's similar to that of Matt Nagy's offense, and he could be a pretty seamless fit if the Bears brought him in, and I'm sure they could get him for cheap. Parth, I'm going to pass it back to you now. Devonta Freeman, Carlos Hyde, Lamar Miller, and LeSean McCoy. Pick your poison.
I'm going to say Devonta Freeman. In 2015 and 2016, he had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons with 11 touchdowns rushing-wise, and then he had over 500 receiving yards both years, I think. And the Bears do need another pass catcher out of the backfield. I like Montgomery as a running back more than a pass catcher. I feel like Freeman brings a better balance than Montgomery does, actually. And again, if Montgomery goes down, Freeman's an experienced veteran, and he's still younger than McCoy, like you guys suggested. I think Freeman's 27 or 28. He has been injury prone the last 2 years, but I'm willing to place a bet on Freeman. You know, he was a top fantasy option back in the day as well, so just another guy that the Bears could bring into the locker room.
I think when it boils down to it, it's all going to come down to health if the Bears do bring in another running back, because not only do you need them staying healthy in general, but if they get an increased role if someone else goes down, they're going to need to stay healthy, and Devonta Freeman and LeSean McCoy haven't particularly been able to do that over the last couple of years, unfortunately. But that's a good point you bring up, you know. I like David Montgomery as a runner. You think Tariq's that gadget player who I would call more of a pass catcher, so Devonta Freeman could provide some equality there, I guess, meet in the middle. But that's pretty much going to do it for this one, guys. Episode number 30 of Beared Down Uncut. Today we talked about some possible free agent running back options that are still available. We're heading towards training camp. Illinois is set to open up from quarantine soon. May 30th is still the tentative date. I think today is May 12th. Yeah, I said that earlier. But, you know, hopefully in 18 days we can get out of this, and hopefully the team, whether or not there's going to be fans and media and stuff there, can still work out, and hopefully the season can still start on time. That'll pretty much do it for us, guys. If you want more content from us, head over to beardown.com to find columns, articles, and blogs. If you want to follow our Instagram fan pages, the links to those are in the description. And you can also follow the podcast on Instagram and Twitter at Beared Down. Do us a favor before you leave here. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new. Click the bell for notifications. Parth and Jaylen McClinton, it's been a wonderful time talking today. I feel like it's the first one we haven't recorded late at night in a while. But any last words?
Not much. It's a nice day here in Chicago, so I'll probably head out for a bit. Hopefully, enjoy the sun.
Make sure you guys are staying safe. Bear down. And also shout out to Adrian Martinez. He's one of our subscribers, and just want to give a shout out to him.
Yeah, I think he commented something about how our videos are actually keeping him through this pandemic, so we appreciate the support. You know, there's not much to do during times like these, so we're just going to continue to try and make as much content as we can until we run out of ideas. I think we're getting pretty creative with it, with a running backs video. But we're going to continue to try and make good content for you guys. And if you have any suggestions for us, do us a favor, comment them in the description, and we'll probably make a video on what you guys want to see. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's all about making content for you guys. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure to be your host today. Once again, my name is Chris Malpe. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 30 of Uncut. That's pretty much going to do it for us, guys. And as always, Chicago, stay safe and bear down. Peace.